Drew Brees is at it again when it comes to the Eagles offense, when it comes to Jalen Hurts. As you know, he said not all that long ago about how boring the offense is. This coming from the quarterback that threw 98.7% of his passes within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. It was basically a run game. Don't check me on those numbers. I'm making a point. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor if you're enjoying the content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, closing in on five. I think we hit 470 subs yesterday, so I really appreciate it. Absolutely wild. So let's take a listen to this and what Drew Brees says, and we're going to talk about it. I want to hear what y'all think in the comments as well. And there's something really interesting that I don't think is hammered home enough as well, which we're going to get into based off of what Drew says here. And I'm really curious what y'all think about that because. Well, maybe us Philly fans are talking about it a little bit, but no one else is. All right, so let's take a listen to this.
I'll start with you. I know you called that Eagles offense vanilla a couple of weeks ago, but it's too much being made about the Eagles offensive struggles.
Look, it is about winning. And I'll be honest, I'm shocked that they're 5-2 based on how they've played. They are a middle of the pack offense and they're a middle of the pack defense right now. And I think shockingly, statistically, they are the 30th ranked rushing offense in the league.
Thank you.
Would you have ever thought that the Philadelphia Eagles, with the best back in football and one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in football, and one of the best O lines in football, would be the 30th ranked rush defense? And they've got two of the most explosive receivers in the league. Here's what I see when I turn on the Philly tape. I see a team who has gone so far from what was their identity. Man, in the past, it was, man, we are run first, and we are either handing it off to this guy with a light box because somebody has to account for the quarterback, or Jalen Hurts is going to pull it and he's going to run, or he's going to throw an RPO because we have favorable numbers on the edge and we're going to get in these playmakers' hands. And we're just going to sit there and dent the defense and we're going to control the clock. And then the point totals will reflect that. And then the defense isn't going to be out there as long. But it's hard not to turn them on and say, man, they just don't look like what they've done in the past. And maybe they're just shifting their mindset. It looks like they're just trying to put Jalen in the gun, do a lot more drop back passing, and give him the opportunities just to read the defense and throw the football. And if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But I just don't think it's as good as they could be. And I think that's what we need to focus on here is, yeah, you're winning games, but are you as good as you could be when you have the top 10 highest paid guys on your team on offense?
Well, let me.
And you are the 30th ranked rushing offense in the league, and you're just like squeaking out games. Like, to me, that's not the roster that you've built.
Now, I'm going to start out with actually saying that he does make a few points here in terms of how they're playing. I think we've all every Eagles fans I've talked to, we've had this conversation, which yeah, they're not doing enough RPO 100%. I don't think they do enough play action. That Devontae Smith touchdown, the 79-yarder, that was play action from under center. They need to do a little more of that. But what he's not understanding, and this is where I think is goes again to Jalen Hurts' credit that a lot of these guys, Drew Brees, Nicky knows right, all these guys out there, Skip Bayless, Chase Daniel, and on and on and on. Cam Newton is all we heard about was Jalen's not that good and he's carried by a super team, right? Jalen's not that good and he's carried by a super team. In fact, someone let me Davin Evans, I don't know. Shout out to Davin. I'm not sure if Davin made this, but Jalen Hurts flowchart. Did Eagles win? Yes. Bad stats, he was carried. Yes. Good stats, he was still carried. Did they did they win? No. Bad stats, QB's fault. Good stats, but he lost. Right. And that sounds about right. I think that's what we've all heard because his stats were great in the two losses, better than they were in the wins if you're looking just at the stats of a quarterback. But of course, winning does matter, which Drew doesn't seem to understand. But here's the other thing with that. We keep hearing about this super team. Okay, well, Saquon Barkley is averaging 3.3 yards per carry. I think it's actually lower now, at like 52.7 rushing yards per game through 7 games. Guys, this is not a bad game or two to start the season at this point. We're almost halfway through the season, and he is on pace to have fewer than 1,000 yards in a 17-game season. That is terrible. He's got one of the worst yards per carry averages in the NFL. So this whole idea that Jalen's being carried, the Eagles have no run game. No one else is carrying the ball. Tank Bigsby, they traded for him. He's got one carry. He got 11 yards on that carry, but he only has one carry. And they're not running the RPO, which I think would actually help in that situation to get Saquon going a little bit. But they have no run game, and Jalen Hurts is doing what he is doing. We've got this, and I'll show you in a couple different sources, the highest grade offensive lines from NFL Week 7, according to our OL impact metric. As you can see, Chiefs, Bears, Steelers, Niners, Broncos, Pats, Bengals, Panthers, Jaguars, Giants. No Eagles in the top 10. People talk about Patrick Mahomes being player of the year, player of the week this week, even though Jalen Hurts outplayed him. And you can see that line right up there, number one for the Kansas City Chiefs. Imagine if Jalen had the game he just had with the perfect passer rating, 326 yards and only 23 passes, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and his O line was ranked number one. That is all we would hear about. It is the O line. It's the guys on the outside. It's the running threat of Saquon Barkley. None of it is Jalen Hurts. But as you can see, the Eagles O line is nowhere to be found. And we look at this. This is offensive line grading for different things. We've got I think yards per carry, after contact maybe, but stuff run percentage, run block win rate, pressure rate allowed, pass block win rate, and all that. And the Eagles are down near the bottom for like everything 27th, 31st, 24th, 26th, 19th. Guys and gals, our O line has been horrifically bad this year. Horrifically bad this year. Yet in 7 games, Jalen Hurts has completed 70% of his passes, 1,498 yards. He's got that yards per average up there pretty good now. It was not so good those first couple of games. 7.7, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception, right? We look at, and that's all come in the last 5 games. 11 TD tosses in 5 games and only 1 interception from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, by the way, Drew, I'll leave you with this, folks. 108.9 passer rating. That is the highest in Eagles history through 7 games. He's the third QB ever with 70% completion percentage, 11 or more passing TDs, and 1 or fewer interceptions through 7 games. The others being Alex Smith and Drew Brees. And one of the differences between Jalen Hurts and Drew Brees is Jalen Hurts chucks the ball downfield. I know people don't like to talk about it, and they didn't do it in those early games, but Jalen Hurts is one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. So they have no offensive line. They have no run game. And yet Jalen Hurts is putting up numbers like that we just don't see from quarterbacks. And yet somehow the man is being carried. It is absolutely wild, this narrative that they continue to go with. And again, I want to shout out Davin Evans. If Davin actually made this, hopefully did. I think this thing sums it up absolutely perfectly. There's always going to be an excuse. They're always going to move the goalposts. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Really do appreciate it. I'll talk to you in the next video.